everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new here. If you are new here, then please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon if you like what you see so that you get a notification every single time I upload a new video. I make new videos here on my channel every single Friday-ish. So today I wanted to make some mermaid content for you all, and I also wanted to do it from the comfort of my own bedroom. And I thought it would be a really fun and cool idea to talk about some real mermaid sightings from history. And some of the things that I read and found out about are probably going to shock you. So buckle in. I'm not going to say whether or not I personally believe some of these stories. I'm not going to tell you that they are fact, but these are real accounts from different people in history. And yeah, they're super fascinating, and let me know in the comments down below whether or not you believe in real mermaids or not. And if you've ever seen a mermaid out in the wild, then definitely let me know that in the comments below because I'm super interested. I wanted to mention really quick that this style of video is definitely inspired by another YouTuber named Jessie V. She is a fellow Canadian YouTuber and I really like her stuff. So yeah, sup Jessie, if you ever watch this, I love you. I almost forgot to do this, but today's Instagram shoutout goes to Cathal Tig on Instagram. I don't know if there's a right way to say that, but thank you so much for liking and commenting on my Instagram photo. I really appreciate you. And if you would like to be next week's Instagram shoutout, then make sure you are following me on Instagram at emma.forth, and you are always liking and commenting on all of my photos. And now back into the video. So the first mermaid sighting that I want to talk to you about happened long ago in the year 1493. This person, you may have heard of him. His name is Christopher Columbus, you know, that guy. While he was sailing off the coast of Haiti, he wrote down that he believed that he saw 3 mermaids, but he was a little puzzled by their appearance. He wrote that the creatures rose well out of the sea, but that they are not so beautiful as they are said to be, for their faces had some masculine traits. What a lot of people guessed actually happened here was that Christopher saw 3 manatees rather than mermaids, but he had never seen manatees before, and I guess he just associated them with mermaids for some reason. But in my opinion, saying that they have some masculine traits is a bit of an understatement when you're comparing a beautiful mermaid to a manatee. Not saying that manatees aren't beautiful, but they don't really look like people all that much, and yeah, it's definitely an under-exaggeration to say that a manatee is a mermaid just with some masculine traits. So maybe he really did see 3 mermaids that day. I mean, there's no way to prove it or not because this account was in 1493, so who knows? But this is the same guy who was trying to go to India and ended up in North America instead, and then started to call everybody Indians. Fun fact. So clearly this guy is not the most reliable source of information out there, but I did think that that story was really interesting, and I had no idea that Christopher Columbus claims to have seen 3 mermaids on his voyages. So now into the 16th century, we have this very peculiar souvenirs called Jenny Hanovers. I'm hoping that I'm saying that correctly. So these Jenny Hanovers were sold and bought as like keepsakes and souvenirs by people, and people back in the day thought that they were actual proof of mermaid-like creatures. Because if you look at them, they appear to have a human-like face, but on this small aquatic creature body. They don't have a tail like a mermaid, so people didn't actually think that these were mermaids, but they thought that they were aquatic, humanoid marine beings. Unfortunately, this was proven to be a hoax, and all a Jenny Hanover actually is the dried and carved carcass of a ray. So people would find these dead rays. I don't know if people hunted rays for this or if they would find them washed up on the beach, but they would somehow get some dead rays. They would dry them out and then carve their dead bodies to be in a more humanoid shape and sell them to people, claiming that this is a real animal, a real mermaid-like animal. And even though it was proven to be a hoax shortly after they became popular, they were still a popular curiosity up until the 19th century. This next mermaid sighting is probably my favorite one that I read about, and the story is called the Hebrides Mermaid. So this was a story that was published in approximately the year 1900, but it was said to have taken place in approximately 1830. And at the time the story was published, the author claimed that there were still people alive to this day, that day in 1900, who were alive and who had witnessed and actually touched this mermaid. This mermaid sighting took place on the island of Benbecula in Scotland. So what happened was there was a woman on the beach doing some kind of beach work at the time, and she saw something splashing around in the calm sea. She didn't know what she was seeing, but it appeared to be a female child, about 3 to 4 human years old. But this child had the tail of a salmon, except that the tail had no scales, so more like a dolphin-ish tail. She was said to have long, dark, glossy hair and very pale, soft skin. So when this woman saw the mermaid, she called over everybody else who was on the beach and working on the beach, and everybody was so fascinated. They're like, what is this? What are we seeing? Some men tried to wade out to her so that they could capture her to get a better look, but of course the mermaid swam away from them. And some little boys were even throwing stones at her. I don't know why you would do that if you're trying to get a creature to come towards you. Throwing stones at it is never a good idea. But they did, and one of the stones actually hit her in the back, and it said that they could hear her cry out in pain before she disappeared under the water. A few days later, on a beach 2 miles from the initial sighting, this little mermaid creature was sadly found washed up on the beach, and she was dead. People from all around gathered to get a look at the mermaid, and everybody who saw her agreed that without a doubt, they were in fact seeing a real-life mermaid. The sheriff of the district actually ordered that there would be a small coffin made for the mermaid, and many people witnessed as this little mermaid was laid to rest. So they basically made a coffin and had a full-fledged funeral for this mermaid. Unfortunately, it's unknown where the mermaid was actually buried. Some people believe that she was buried out by the sand dunes, but no gravesite has actually been found. And unfortunately, back in the 1830s, cameras were not something that was accessible, so nobody was able to actually take a picture of the mermaid while she was either alive or after she unfortunately had died. So that's one we can never know if it's really true or not, but I thought that that was a very interesting and a very sad story. All right, we're gonna jump more towards the present day, still not the present day, but this next mermaid sighting was in 1967, and this actually happened in British Columbia, Canada, which is where I'm from. So this mermaid was spotted by some ferry passengers around Main Island, BC. This mermaid was actually photographed too. I will show you the photo right now. It's in black and white and it's not super clear. The exact place that she was spotted and photographed was a place called Helen Point on the northwest corner of Main Island. And this story still shocks people and confuses people to this day. The people who saw the mermaid described her as having long silver hair and the tail of a fish. She was also supposedly holding a large fish, most likely a salmon, and one viewer actually insists that they saw her take a bite out of the fish. No. One male witness described the mermaid as being a cute blonde with dimples, and he also added that she was definitely a girl. Not sure why. I mean, I guess to be sure it was a mermaid and not a merman, but she actually became known as the dimpled mermaid, and this story gets a little crazy. So the local newspaper actually put out a reward for the mermaid, not for someone to take a picture of the mermaid, but for the mermaid herself, if she would come forward, and if marine biologists could prove that she was in fact a real mermaid, this newspaper was gonna give her $25,000. And I don't know what a real mermaid is supposed to do with $25,000, The mermaid was actually spotted again about 2 weeks later by a woman, and this time she saw her in Cordova Bay. But the woman who supposedly saw the mermaid said that she didn't believe for a second that it was a real mermaid. So a lot of people have guessed that this was just a regular woman with a long silver wig and had made some kind of mermaid tail costume. The first professional mermaid, if you will. It sounds like it was most likely a real woman who is just out there cosplaying as a mermaid for fun. I mean, no judgment. But to this day, nobody knows what those ferry passengers truly saw on that day in June of 1967. And the last mermaid sighting I'm going to be talking to you about is the most recent one, and this started happening in 2009 in Israel. I'm going to butcher the name of this place, but apparently both tourists and locals of Kiryat Yam, literally I'm the whitest person ever completely butchering that, I'm sorry, I apologize, but a place called Kiryat Yam, people supposedly would see a mermaid who would only appear at sunset. It was said that people could view this mermaid splashing around in the water, they'd see her do a few tricks, a few somersaults or whatever, before she would disappear into the water. This is a quote of one of the first people who saw the mermaid, and I'm just gonna read it out loud so that I get it right. He said, "I was with friends when suddenly we saw a woman laying on the sand in a weird way. At first, I thought she was just another sunbather, but when we approached, she jumped into the water and disappeared. We were all in shock because we saw she had a tail." So the local government was super excited because so many people were claiming to have seen this mermaid over and over again. So they decided to actually put out $1 million reward for the first person who could photograph the mermaid. Now this story, like I said, it was back in 2009 and I wasn't able to find any update if anybody ever actually did find a photo or whether or not the $1 million reward still stands. But if it does, I might just have to go take a trip to Israel with my mermaid tail and a photographer and collect that $1 million reward. It was me all along. Well, everybody, those are all of the mermaid sightings I'm going to be talking about today. If you want a part 2 of this video, or if you want me to make this sort of a video series, there are so many different mermaid sightings around the world, both from a long time ago and as recent as today. So if you want to see more mermaid sighting videos, I would love to make those for you. Leave me a comment down below saying that you like this video, and also give me a thumbs up so I know you want to see this kind of content again. So I want to ask you one more time, what do you think of these stories? Do you think that mermaids are real? Or do you think that the most real mermaids get is us humans who put on our mermaid tails and swim around? Either way, I fully respect your opinion, and I would love to hear of any of your personal experiences or sightings with real mermaids or mermen or merpeople. If you would like to, you can follow me on Instagram at emma.forth and at mermaidzelda for lots of fun, fashion, fantasy, mermaid content. I post on those accounts all the time, and it's the best way to stay up to date with my life and just get a lot of behind the scenes and fun things like that. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it, and I will see you here next Friday-ish for a brand new video. Bye! So when this